You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
No, I can't. I can't. It's tempting, though. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. New additions to the studio, 3 cans of Nation beer that we were sent and told very specifically by sales guy Jared, these are for your set. These are not for consumption.
So what did we do? We drank all the other ones that they gave us.
Yeah.
Left 3 for the show.
mean, to be fair, we could just keep an empty can there.
Oh, I'll be doing that at home.
Yeah.
I gotta take 2 home. Come on.
Therefore, set design, gentlemen. If you haven't heard, Nation Beer is back. Tyler Mulick says, drink the beer. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I actually don't know if it is. Is it always 5 o'clock somewhere? Is that like a true fact? Or is that just something people say?
Well, right now it actually might be. Because it's noon. 5 hours ahead?
6 hours ahead or 5 hours ahead? I don't know if there is. Anyways, shout out to our friends at Odd Company, 2 locations in Edmonton. And yes, the proud partner of the all-new Nation Beer, your everyday lager, whether it's game day or any day. Enjoy a crisp and clean everyday lager. Someone said fact. So it's always in the 5 o'clock hour somewhere?
How is that? Really?
Like, I'm not dumb. I know time zones exist.
I just pulled up the world clock, trying to find a 5 o'clock.
There you go. Where is it 5 p.m. right now?
It's Friday in Dakar.
Yeah, that doesn't. Where in the... Oh, there's a website. Where in the world is it 5 p.m.? Cape Verde.
Cape Verde.
Verde, which is in...
The Caribbean. Oh, no, it's Africa, sorry.
Yeah, this says, now say cheers in a new language, Turkish. So this website says it's a thing. So it's 5 p.m. in Canberra. Mulick says always 5 o'clock at Margaritaville.
That's true.
Pretty sure in Australia it's 5 a.m. Well, I would explain why Dukes isn't watching today.
It's definitely not 5 p.m. in London, England.
No, London's 8 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, 8.
6 ahead of Toronto, 8 ahead of us.
Sure.
I think so. Isaac, I don't think 5 p.m. refers to actually 5, but just the evening. That can be wrong, though. I mean, this...
I Googled it. It said at the top of the hour, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but not always. It could be 5:17. Being the world rotates and time is based on that rotation, 2 time zones will be in the 5 o'clock range.
Yeah, London's 7 hours ahead.
That was just a bunch of words that didn't make sense to me.
Flight 8 hours.
Yeah, we've probably spent too much time on this. Anyways, welcome into the show, everybody. It's a Thursday edition of the program. We're going to be joined by Tyler Ennis for his weekly hit in about 17 minutes. So we'll try to kill some time up until then. A lot of time zone talk already in the chat.
A lot of time talk.
A lot of time talk. We got a lot of time until the Oilers' next hockey game, which will be tomorrow night against the Pittsburgh Penguins as they welcome Sidney Crosby to town. We are not going to get to see Sidney Crosby at Rogers Place that many more times. Like, we're talking under 5 if we're lucky, under 3 in all likelihood.
How old is he right now?
46.
30. Holy moly, 37.
Yeah, okay, he's only 37. Oh, we might get 5 more then. 5 more is probably the line of the over-under.
You think 5?
If he stays healthy, I could see him playing until he's 42. I don't think that's a stretch.
How long? Oh, he just signed a new contract.
So it's a 37-year-old season. He signed through his 38 and 39-year-old seasons. Maybe, I think maybe the line would be he signs 1 more deal, and it's like his farewell deal.
Yeah, we'll kind of see where he's at, I guess. I mean, if he's dominant still.
Yeah. But at the same time, I will also add, he doesn't strike me as the guy, like, in baseball, how there's like, David Ortiz and Jeter, they were like, I am retiring at the end of the year. And then every city they went to, it's like they go to Minnesota and they get like an Adirondack chair with their name on it. Then they go to Toronto and they get like a Canada Goose jacket and like they do the whole thing. I get the sense Sidney Crosby's not the kind of guy who's going to be like, hand up, it's my last year. Everyone like give me video tributes everywhere I go. He will probably just like,
Well, here's what I'm thinking for Sid. He currently has 1,603 points.
1,603 points?
Which is 10th all time.
Mm-hmm.
To get to second all time, which is Yager, 1,921. So he needs 300 and something, 30 something, 27.
Well, how many is he away then? He's about 399, I think, away from 2,000, right?
397, 387.
Okay.
No, 397, sorry.
397 away. Let's say he plays 5 more years until he's 42, and that's probably on the far side of things, but let's say that an average of 79.4 points a season for him to be the second player ever to get to 2,000 points.
How many, sorry?
An average of 79 points a year if he plays 5 more years to get to 2,000 points.
It's very doable. What's he at right now?
It's doable because I think he could probably do 90 one more time, and then maybe there's a 60 at the, or a 69 at the end of that, or a 70.
His last 3 years, he has got progressively better in points.
Yeah.
In 2022, he only played 69 games and had 84 points. So you could say he's had 3 straight 90-point seasons.
Yeah. He's had an incredible career, obviously, goes without saying.
Unreal.
But I do wonder if there's maybe a little part that competitive spark.
Yeah.
Does he sit there and watch Ovi in a year, break Gretzky's record, and go, okay, I need something else to end my career on. I want to be the second player ever to 2,000 points. Me and Wayne, and that is it.
Totally, I could see that, because on that list too, it passed Lemieux and Yager, who are obviously Penguins legends. So that would also, I guess you could say, cement him as the greatest Penguin of all time, which obviously right now he's in the conversation, if not already there. But Lemieux is part of that conversation too. But if you pass both those guys, the argument kind of goes out the window, doesn't it? He is, for record, Joe Sakic has 1,641 in 9th place. And Lemieux is in 8th and has 1,723. So by the end of the season, would have passed Sakic and is very close to passing Lemieux.
A couple other things I want to talk about today. The Oilers skated down at Rogers Place, and Ruby Jarventi in the mix. We talked about it yesterday. He was skating on the 4th line. He's nearing a return, which our pal Jason Gregor noted would come down in Bakersfield. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy who, they didn't acquire him for no reason, right? And I know it was a little bit of like, hey, let's just get out from Xavier Bourgault while we can, because we don't think he's ever going to be an NHLer. They looked at Jarventi as a guy with maybe not quite the upside that a former first-round pick in Bourgault would have, but a guy who is closer to being NHL ready and has a higher likelihood, albeit lower ceiling, than someone like a Bourgault. I don't think he factors in right away. I don't think he factors in before Christmas. I think it probably takes him 30 games of playing really good hockey. But I will add one thing that works in Jarventi's favor. If he, the plan, play NHL games, one thing that works in his favor is Lavoie no longer being here. Because I think when you look at that Bakersfield roster right now, if there's an injury to the Oilers' top 6, it is probably Savoie. And I'm not talking a week. If it's a week and someone's nicked up or whatever, then I think you just see them make work with what they can and call up a Philp or a Hamblin. I'm talking, knock on wood, and I don't want anyone to be like, you're jinxing it. If there was a long-term injury to someone in the top 6, you call up Savoie and see what he can do.
Totally.
If there is a long-term injury to someone in the bottom 6, probably Philp. But I think Jarventi over the next month, if he's healthy and in Bakersfield and contributing, can actually make a case that he's the guy who should get that call up. Assuming it's, again, a winger, not a center.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think another thing that works in his favor, too, is he's waiver exempt. So he can just fly between waivers whenever he kind of needs to as well. So that's good. But, yeah.
Philp does need waivers, right?
Well, right now he's fine because he passed through. So he's good for that period, right? At Puckpedia, I just looked. It said he is exempt from waivers currently.
Philp or Jarventi?
Both.
Really?
Because he goes through, right? So then isn't there a bit of a buffer period?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Waivers exempt.
So for at least a time being, he's...
Yeah, there's a handful of them that still are.
Yeah. Daryl asks, has Lavoie played in Vegas yet? He has not. But yeah,
has he played for Henderson?
I don't know. I would assume so. The AHL season is about 5-6 games in to the NHL.
3 games for Henderson, no points, -4.
Thank goodness. Somebody left the Oilers and didn't have a career year. Phew. What a relief.
That's honestly so fair. That's so fair. But yeah, Jarventi skating.
Sorry, I was going to say, do you think they would? I know the answer myself, and I don't think they will. But what if they look at that Columbus game and they're like, because right now, is he on the cap?
Jarventi?
Yeah.
Counting for about $100K because of season opening IR.
Okay. So would they have to hypothetically activate him?
Activate him and send him down in one foul swoop.
But I wonder if you activate me like, hey, Perry, you're nicked up. We're just going to play Jarventi for this one game in Columbus because he's here already. he's going to count for basically nothing on the cap. Next day, you're sent into Bakersfield. Just to give Perry a break as someone too, like you are running these guys, like these 12 forwards are kind of your only option. I don't think they're going to.
Nah, you let him get up to speed in Baco.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying. I'm selling on that idea. Let's continue along with the show. I want to get to, it's not a game day, but there were some changes to the lineup. So our lineup report brought to you by Square. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad. You're thinking about how to get more orders flowing, new locations open. So really, you need to focus on your customers. Keep them coming back. So you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech has already helped more than 400,000 restaurants do all these things and more. When you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. We even use Square at our nation events. Go to square.ca, see why Square is big in restaurants. Also, the link is in our bio or description of today's episode, if you will. The Oilers lineup once again at practice. McDavid, Nuge, Hyman. The second line, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Skinner, Henrique, and Brown, Janmark with Ryan, and Perry, Ekholm, Bush, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson. Start on the blue line. I wrote today at Oilersnation.com. You guys heard my take on this yesterday, but put Ty Emberson in the lineup. Give him, I won't even ask for 10 games. I won't even ask for 7 games anymore. Give him 5 straight games with Brett Kulak, where Kulak, a mentor, a vet, can teach him on the fly, let him learn, let him grow from his mistakes, and boom. See if you have something in him. See if he can build up some confidence. The thing that drove me nuts about this, Emberson's played 5 games this year. First game he played on the ice for 2 goals against it, 5-on-5. Second game he played on the ice for 2 goals against it, 5-on-5. The next 3, it was Dallas, it was Philly, and I think it was Nashville.
Yeah.
In whatever order. He wasn't on the ice for a 5-on-5 or even strength goal against. Why did that guy deserve to get pulled out of the lineup for a career journeyman in Travis Dermott, who I have time for, who we talked about in the summer that I thought would be a good fit to sign because he can play the left and right side? I like Dermott. Dermott is your 7. Dermott does not come with upside. Ty Emberson has upside. Ty Emberson looked like a legitimate top 4 defenseman in San Jose, albeit for 30 games last season. What are you doing healthy scratching him coming off good performances? What did we learn with Broberg? A different example, but young player. What did we learn with Holloway? What have we learned with Lavoie? Give them chances. Let them learn from their mistakes. This whole pull them in, pull them out, play them 8 minutes, play them 12 minutes, play them 3 minutes. It's dumb. There's no point to it. Keep Emberson in the lineup.
I'm with you 100%. I think they just need to find some rhythm in that blue line, allow these guys to kind of play through their mistakes, just whatever it is, right? So here's a question. Another one from me. Do you think they're playing in fear of an offer sheet again for someone like Emberson? So the rule is if you play 80 games in the NHL, you're vulnerable to an offer sheet.
Yeah.
You played 30 in San Jose last year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll try?
Nope.
And I don't think.
No, you can't manage your team that way.
They already manage it that way in the sense of, we have to keep the cap so low instead of like playing in the now. I think they're I wonder, I don't think it's fully true, but like, why would you not do that? You just listed off he played well in those 3 games and they scratched him for Travis Dermott.
If you are
incompetency,
if you are not dressing Ty Emberson because you're scared that if you play him too much, he might get offer sheeted next summer, you're insane. That makes no sense.
Maybe it doesn't, but I wonder if it's thought of them. Like Ty Mulick said then, Broberg played 81 games. I don't know. I don't think they're probably not doing that, but I just find it interesting.
Yeah. Again, if Emberson
play him, and the thing is too, like we were talking about Jarventi, I wonder if they were to call up a forward, Travis Dermott would just go on waivers to kind of go sent down, right?
You could if you needed to,
balance the books a little bit.
Then the danger with doing that is like with forwards, you can always just do if you have an extra D-man but not an extra forward, which they're doing right now, and someone gets banged up, you just go 11-7.
Yeah.
If the reverse happens and you don't have the extra D-man on your roster, going 13-5 is or at that point it'd be 12-5 if a forward or if a D-man got banged up. 12-5 is not good.
I thought he was eligible for waivers.
Oh,
waiver exempt. Sorry, Travis Dermott. Isn't he on the 2-way?
2-way has nothing to do with waivers.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
I feel like we've talked about that a lot.
I feel like we probably have to.
Yeah. 2-way, 1-way is just how much money you make, whether you're in the AHL or NHL.
Right.
So Again, that's my rant on the blue line. I want to talk a little bit about our pal Vasily Podkolzin, and I'm going to make this actually, moving away from the lineup report, going to make this our Sherwood Ford Giant question for the day. The annual Sherwood Ford Food Drive is here on now until November 3rd, and in support of the Strathcona Food Bank, donations will be collected not only at Sherwood Ford, but also at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. You can drop off your non-perishables. You can also drop off donations with our friends at Odd Company Brewing. So we're getting everybody in the mix here to help out the community. This food drive wouldn't be possible without the help of the students at Lakeland Ridge Community School. Sherwood Ford the Giant, Odd Company Brewing, Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, all accepting donations. Do us a favor, swing by, drop off some non-perishables. What are your expectations for Vasily Podkolzin on the second line?
I think he'll be exactly the same. Work really hard. Maybe get some more chances towards the net. Hopefully he can just kind of find that skill that he was assumed to be brought into the league with when he went 10th overall to Vancouver. And I think it can work. And I think he's the player you want to find his game quicker maybe than others. Obviously, Nugent Hyman, you need to get on, but you know that's going to come.
Yeah.
With Podkolzin, I don't know this, but if he can get a goal, he seems like the kind of guy that was just going to be like, damn, I scored again. Like, awesome. Like, gain some confidence from it. Keep Skinner on your third line. I think it could work. I don't really have expectations, I guess it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, he's played a couple of really nice games.
Yeah, he's done well.
I am intrigued to see what he can do there. But I also know, like, it's not an intimidation thing, but like going up and playing with Leon Draisaitl can be difficult. He's a very good player. There comes pressure with that. Yeah. Do you always need to put the puck on his stick? Like, learning to play with him can be tough. Like, we've talked with Ennis about that too. And I just, again, I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but it really does make me so frustrated. If you think there's a chance this works, you need to give it 3 or 4 games. We can't do one game and you lose in overtime and it's like, well, that didn't work. Down you go, Skinner back up. Because I also do think that third line has a chance to be something for you. And I love what Bruce Kurlock says of like, man, you put 3 guys with good offensive skill and Henrique, Brown, and Skinner out there, and you give them the chance to have gravy matchups. They can be difference makers. They can produce for you. They can outscore the other team on a consistent basis. And then you look at that second line and it's like, hey, anytime Leon Draisaitl is on the ice, he's going to have a chance to produce. That line has a chance to work. He can get his. So you put him with Arvidsson, who is a hard worker and good defensively. You put him with Podkolzin, who, what is he? He's a hard worker, physical, and he's good defensively. You have a chance to build a line that can eat tough minutes, still have a chance to outproduce the other team, but more importantly, be trusted in your own end and not make mistakes. And that just opens up that third line to be even more dangerous for you. So I think this second line can really work. I think it can be a good shutdown trio for the Oilers, but here's what you need in that. You need buy-in from the guy down the middle of the ice. And I don't want this, and it's something that drove me nuts, and we talked about it yesterday when I sent out a tweet about that shift Draisaitl had against Carolina, where McDavid was zipping around in the neutral zone and Draisaitl was just wandering to come tag up for the offside, and then 15 seconds later, whatever it was, he buries a guy from behind, gets a penalty, he's in the box, Oilers are shorthanded. You need a bit more than that from Leon. And what drove me nuts is I love Leon Draisaitl. Top 5 player in the NHL, very unique skill set. The Oilers are beyond lucky he is going to spend his entire career in orange and blue. What drives me nuts is when you make an observation like that and you put it out on Twitter, and I know everyone's going to be like, yeah, man, it's the internet. What do you expect? And people are like, oh, signed up for 8 more years, got his paycheck and dipped, lazy Leon. No, you can criticize one moment of a player in a regular season without it being a blanket statement about what the guy's like overall. And Mulek says he took 3 brutal icings. He looks unengaged. And that's kind of what I'm getting at right now, because it's not just 29, it's 97 too. That, as great as he was, that play in overtime was awful.
Yeah.
We highlighted the one against Dallas where he just kind of wandered back and didn't pick anybody up. Those two haven't been as good as they need to be. And I think this forward group has a chance to work. But the way it's going to work is if 29 is fully engaged, 97 plays the way he does against Carolina through regulation, and then that third line can work, and that fourth line, I honestly don't have as many concerns about them as I thought I would coming into the season. What else it's going to need is the power play waking up and the goaltending waking up, and you might be sitting there going, why does that matter? Because if the goaltending's good and the power play's good, they'll win a couple of games that maybe they weren't supposed to, and it's going to, quite frankly, force Chris Knoblauch to not change them up. Because at this point, it's clear Chris Knoblauch has no interest in running the same lines together unless they're winning. So You need the other facets of your game going so you can allow these lines to overcome that blind spot of Knoblauch's and actually allow them to start to create some chemistry.
Yeah, I'm with you. The power play really is the reason they've lost these games.
Yeah.
They've actually been pretty solid at 5-on-5 for the most part, minus the obviously. You know what? No, I would just say overall, like the special teams has really blown it for them so far this season, and that's going to damage everyone. I went back and looked. So Podkolzin, obviously, this is a few years ago now, 21, 22, when he was a rookie in the league, who he played with. He had the most success with skilled players like Niels Hoglander, Elias Pettersson. He had 5 goals on that line with them. And then also his second best was with Bo Horvat and Alex Chason for what Chason's worth. He's still scored quite a few goals in the NHL. So he's proven in his time that he can play with these skilled players. I think it has just become a bit of a confidence thing with him. And if he can find his game, then the Oilers kind of found a solution from within. You know, we talked about it yesterday, like Yaremchuk, you can't have him on your third line anymore. Basically, it's just a fourth line player. It's like, if you can keep Skinner down on that third line and have that line kind of have their moments, and then you have Draisaitl with Arvidsson and Podkolzin rolling, you're looking pretty dangerous with your 9 forwards there.
Just quickly, Doug Waite, 97 engaged, 29 playing smart, third line producing, special teams producing, Nurse gone, keys to victory. Yeah, I mean, until the last one there, you had me a little bit. But and another thing, Maynard, Nobby's becoming McClellan 2.0. But I mean, like, listen, we got pissed off at the McClellan blender, then we got pissed off at the Tippett blender, then we got pissed off at the Woodcroft blender, now we're pissed off at the Knoblauch blender. I mean, maybe at some point I should just change my expectations of this whole thing, but regardless, I want to quickly have a conversation about the power play. They made some, call it wholesale changes yesterday, and I know we touched on it a little bit, but just to dive back in, McDavid, Draisaitl, Skinner, Arvidsson, and let's call it Bouchard for now. The other one, RNH, Hyman, Henrique with Nurse and Ekholm. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I think just swapping Skinner and Nuge, as much as Nuge is wicked smart and does not deserve to be the scapegoat for these power play struggles, something's got to change. And I just think going Skinner for Nuge could get everyone perked up a little bit, get everyone out of their comfort zone just a hair, force them to look at things a different way, even just be on your toes a little bit, because McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman haven't played a lot with Jeff Skinner. So, like, you don't know exactly where he's going to go. You just got to be a little bit more prepared. I think that is the move they needed to make. I think this is a step too far. And because they went so crazy with it in practice, I don't know if we'll even see it in the game. And the other thing that will be a great tell of how serious they are about this, if the team is down 1 goal in the third and they get a power play. Let's say they only have 1 power play early and they go with this, okay? And they split it up minute a minute. Third period, they're down by a goal to Pittsburgh. Power play with 15 minutes left. Is Knoblauch doing this? There's no way. No way. I'd be stunned.
No, I think you would go with it.
So you're buying into this. You think this is authentic and legit?
I'm not buying the defenseman. I think Bouchard's just going to stay on that top unit.
Me too.
Ekholm on there. To be honest, that kind of plays with the rhythm of it a little bit too much because Ekholm's a lefty, Bouchard's a righty. I would stick with Bouchard up there. It just makes a bit more sense. And also, he's Evan Bouchard. He's still having a good season points-wise. Like, he's doing all right. So I would have Bouchard there. But, yeah, no, I think that's the line they'll go with. I mean, I think it'll really be dictated by how the first couple of them go. And if that power play is kind of clicking, like, why would you not go with it? Actually, it was not Skinner. What's the coach's name? Knoblauch spoke about it yesterday, and he's just like, you know, and it was kind of an interesting comment. He's like, you look back at kind of the history of this power play, even before like, my time, is obviously Bouchard was replaced by Barry. He went back to be like, yeah, and Draisaitl replaced Alex Chason. So yeah, that was probably a good idea. And
Hyman replaced Mark Letestu.
He did say that.
Well, okay. Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he did. So yeah, it was. I think you roll with it. I think we're gonna say this about the forward lines, that you have to play them. If you think this is gonna work, you have to play it. You have to prove that, like, you are the coach. You make the decisions, because you just listed off all the other coaches that have put their lines in a blender. This, you know, so I think you got to stick with it. I would go with it. I don't think, again, what I wouldn't do is have I would keep Bouchard on the top pair and then put Ekholm and Nurse on the bottom one.
Yep, that's our Shirt for Giant question for the day. Before we continue along with the show, I need to let everybody know about Prime Monday Night Hockey. Prime Monday Night Hockey on Prime Video is here, the exclusive home for the NHL on Monday nights in Canada. Upcoming games, Toronto in Winnipeg on October 28th, next Monday. Then after that, Edmonton makes their debut on Prime Monday Night Hockey, November 4th. If you do not have Prime yet and you want to subscribe, you can get a free 30-day trial by hitting the link that is in our description today, whether it's podcast or YouTube. That link is in there. You simply go to the app, open the sports section, and the game will be there next Monday. It is the only spot you can watch Edmonton play next Monday, November 4th. So there you go. Get the free trial. Students are eligible for a free trial up to 6 months at amazon.ca/Amazon Prime. Prime Monday Hockey. It's on Monday.
And it's on Prime.
Bang. Bang. Good work.
That is boom.
Yeah, well, yeah, boom, bang, whatever you need to do. It's all good. All right, let's continue along with things here. We're going to get to our guy Tyler Ennis here in like 5 minutes. Anything more on the line comments? Oh, would you go back to Skinner tomorrow? I know we're going to do a game day episode tomorrow. So like we're kind of, knocking off a lot of topics that we maybe should save. But you back to Stu after that game against Carolina?
Yep. I think it's
especially
simple.
with back-to-backs looming. And again, the numbers went up a little bit. He only gave up 3 goals. He had a .900 save percentage in the loss to Carolina.
How would you, I guess the real question is, how would you handle the back-to-backs? Do you think I think it is dependent on the Pittsburgh game. If Skinner again is like solid, another 9, it was funny, wasn't it? He had a 909, and someone put in the chat the day before. It's like, we need a 910 to win. Well, even that's not going to happen.
Oh, 910 would have won.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. So you play him tomorrow. I think that's a lock, to be honest. You got to get him in there. If he does well again and wins, do you go back to him Pittsburgh, or do you, Detroit, or do you wait till Monday? Because then you don't play again until Thursday.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying there. So, I mean, if we want to look at history, they did go when they played a doubleheader earlier this month. Granted, that was Chicago, then Calgary. They did go Pickard first, Skinner second. When you look at Detroit and Columbus, I know some people might like raise their eyebrows at this a little bit. Detroit has scored 15 goals in 6 games. Columbus had scored 24 goals in 6 games.
That's some offense.
I think I would go Pickard against Detroit, Skinner against CBJ.
Odd matchup.
Yeah, I just think Columbus's offense is moving a little bit better. Not that you need to be like shaking in your boots, scared of the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. But still, they're playing some decent hockey to start the year. Again, averaging 6, 12, 18, 24 goals a game. Detroit is averaging 2.5. I go Skinner. I go with my number 1 against the Blue Jackets and night 1 of the doubleheader. I feel fine with Pickard. Also, that just gives Skinner, his routine actually would be pretty simple here. He played against Dallas, 2 days off, played against Carolina, 2 days off, played against Pittsburgh, then you'd give him 2 days off. He'd play against Columbus, and then it would be 2 days off until he faces the Nashville Predators. And then again, 2 days off, and then he can play the Calgary Flames. 2 days off, then he'd play the Vegas Golden Knights. You want me to keep going? 2 days off, then he'd play Vancouver. 2 days off, then you could play him against the Islanders. And then you'd sit him against Nashville and give him 3 days off. That's good podcasting.
I'm in.
Nate radio television program.
There's a couple 2-day breaks in there, hey?
Yeah, the Oilers, their schedule lightens up a little bit also. And I mean, it makes me scared to look at the stretch schedule for the Oilers. But like in October, they played a 4-game homestand, then 2 on the road, and then another 2 at home here. And I know they will go on the road for 3 here to wrap up the month. But then you go to November and it's like 2, 4, 6 home games. Like they play 2 home games a week for the first 3 weeks of the month.
For the record, they're down the stretch. You were saying they're at home for 3 games in April of 3, 6, 9.
See, there you go. Because even when you look at December, it's a road game, and then it's 3 home games, then it's a road game, then it's a 5-game homestand in December, and then the 2 road ones right after Christmas where they go down to Cali, and then New Year's Eve they're at home to Utah. So it's a lot of home games in that month. You see a lot of blue on that schedule.
Do you know what's going to be interesting? The reaction. This is hypothetical, and I'm hoping it becomes true. If the Oilers somehow win their next 4 games, they'll obviously be over 500 and end the month over 500. And we would have gone through this whole month just like free people. Not me. I'm very calm.
Yeah.
freaking out about this thing, and it's like, oh well, they're actually 6-4-1 or something like that. Whatever their record would be, I don't know. That'll be nice.
They gotta win.
They gotta win, but 4 very winnable games.
Yep. Division's in an interesting spot right now too. I wrote today at Oilers Nation just like what early season trends are legit and which ones aren't. Like Calgary 5-0-1, tremendous story. We talked about this with Frank. I think my miscalculation when I predicted that Calgary would come dead last in the division, I thought San Jose would be a little better.
Well, I think Celebrini not playing has not helped them.
No, it hasn't. But again, 0-7. Celebrini's not helping you win 2 or 3 of those hockey games.
Yeah, well, Will Smith being out too. Then they had another player go out as well. I mean,
They're banged up.
They are 2 kind of rookies, but they clearly don't want to win hockey games very much, which I think is a terrible idea.
Well, I just feel like they're at the point now, and this is what you need to be careful of when you do the strip down of a rebuild. You don't want to get to where Edmonton was pre-McDavid, where like you strip it down so hard that climbing out of the hole is just astronomical. I like what Chicago's done, for example. Even if the results aren't coming yet, they're 2-4-1 this year. But like last year, you get Bedard in. What do? Good vets. Go get a bunch of guys and insulate them really well in the room. And then what did they do this summer? Go get Teravainen. Go get Bertuzzi. Get some good blue liners. Defend well. Got Brossoit, really good backup. Like start to put some competitive pieces in there so that you can be 65, 70 point team, because you never want to just be sitting there going into a year, which I feel like is what San Jose is now going to be scratching and clawing trying to do for the next few seasons. We're like, we got to get 35 points better this year. Everyone's losing their jobs.
I think too, like with Edmonton, what they did wrong as well as in San Jose, hopefully they can figure this out for themselves. But like, you don't want to come out of the rebuild with all these prospects you've then developed and then being like, we have to trade these prospects to get better players.
You only have so many roster spots.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, let's get to the Star Mechanical guest line for the day. Star Mechanical is one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses, and they've been in the community for more than 20 years. They work with the top local award-winning home builders on their new homes, and they work closely with CHBA on events like the Awards of Excellence in Housing. Not expensive rates, quality service. You can rely on Star Mechanical. Let's get our weekly update from Tyler Ennis on how his setup has changed. Whoa, look at this. Is that a little like TV setup there? We got a little bit of the brick. This is nice.
It's the same room. It's just moved around a bit. So yeah, we got some stuff up there. It's like a bar, a couple old trophies and stuff. So since last time, we're basically doing like a panoramic of this one room. So I just keep shifting it around, but it's not bad, huh?
It's not bad. What are we keeping stocked in the bar as of late? What's the drink of choice for Tyler Ennis?
This has pretty much everything. It's stocked. It's it's got all the necessities, we'll put it that way.
We got to get you hooked up with a few of our beers, the Nation Beer Everyday Lager from our friends at
Okay.
Aaron, flash up that ad again. We're never going to stop plugging our beer.
I should also plug Tyson Berry's beer, Chili Ones. It's delicious. It's amazing. I think it's the beer of the future. And I think this is my first time seeing your guys' beer, but it also looks delicious. So
it is very good. Nice, light, and refreshing. All right, let's get into the hockey talk here, Tyler. First off, the Oilers are welcoming Sid and the Penguins to Rogers Place tomorrow. You got a good Sid story from your playing days? Do you remember the first time going up against him?
Well, I just remember being a huge fan, and it was amazing to play against him. I think the coolest moment I had with Sid was when we won the World Championship together. So Sid, it was 2015, and I think Pittsburgh lost in the first round. So originally he wasn't on the team, and then we were pretty excited when Pittsburgh lost because he was able to come join us over in Prague, and we had a great team and a great run, and we won a gold medal together. So that's probably my favorite Sid moment. But he's an amazing guy. I'm still a huge fan of his, and one of the greatest hockey players of all time.
Even at something, I mean, like the World Championships, it was in Prague. I'd imagine it was a great time, but like, is he still like hyper competitive, dialed in robot Sid?
Well, he definitely wants to win, but he's from out east. Everyone from out east is a great guy. It seems he's an amazing, fun, normal dude, funny. great leader, great team guy. And then, of course, he's just got that aura around him where it's Sidney Crosby. He's going to win. I was so excited to just play with him. I was nervous around him for the first little bit for sure, because I was obviously a big fan of his, and he's Sidney Crosby. So great guy, and hope they can get rolling in Pittsburgh. And it's always nice when the Pens are in the playoffs and Crosby's at the forefront.
Absolutely. They were asking Connor McDavid today down at the rink about the Four Nations face-off coming up in February. And they're like, oh, captaincy? And Connor was like, no, it's Sid. Like if there is a Hockey Canada or Canadian team being assembled and Sid's on it, Sid automatically gets the C. Like there's, as Connor said, not even a question. It needs to be Sid.
Yeah, I think it's Sid for sure. I mean, he's got one of, if not the biggest goal in Canadian history in the Olympics overtime. He's been around for so long. He's the best. So I would vote for Sid for the captaincy for sure. I think everybody would, and I think that's a pretty easy choice.
Let's get into the Oilers a little bit. When they hit the ice tomorrow down at Rogers Place, it'll once again be new look line combos for the team. Jeff Skinner is back down on the third line. Nuge is back up to the first line, and Vasily Podkolzin slides in on the second line. We were talking earlier in the show about how we want to see them start winning for a handful of reasons, but also so that there can be some continuity and these guys can start to play on the same line for 3 or 4 games and develop some chemistry. Is that a thing you feel as a player, like developing chemistry with your line mates? They haven't gone more than 2 games with the same forward lines together, even though it's been the same group of 12 in the lineup every night. Is there a thing when you're a player that, hey, I like playing with the same 2 guys for 3-4 games, or does it not matter all that much?
It's a tough one. I think when you find that chemistry with a couple guys, it's like the best feeling ever, because you just feel like the game is so much easier. It's almost just so cohesive out there, and it makes every part of the game easier. And it's amazing when you find that perfect line combo. I think today on any team, the lines don't stay the same. Like, it's so rare to look across the league and have one line that it stayed the same from game 1 to game 82. So I think you have certain players that kind of complement each other better in certain areas. But I think every player understands that throughout the season, the lines are going to change. Now, to kind of have that chemistry to fall back on with a few pairings, or maybe it's a centerman with a left winger who really like each other, and you can kind of, throw a right winger up and down the lineup and see what works best, tinker a bit. I think it's difficult to find the perfect combo, but hopefully the Oilers can find something to spark them, at least for a little bit moving forward, and then they can continue to see what works.
The other big changes in the lineup were the power play. Obviously, the Oilers power play is the greatest of all time. That 1 year,
2 years ago, NHL record.
They put Jeff Skinner, not Stewart, he's in goal, and Arvidsson, and then we're rotating Ekholm and Bouchard. It's probably going to be Bouchard that's in there. Do you think it was a good idea to change it if they do go this way, or do you think they should have just let it kind of ride out? Because last game against Carolina, it did show a little bit more life. They got a goal. It was a bit better. Should they have changed it, or do you like this decision?
So are they changing it to this format here?
Like it, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to go Skinner and Arvidsson with McDavid and Draisaitl, and they were rotating Bush and Ekholm, but it sounds like it's going to be Bush there. Then Nuge and Hyman are going down to power play too. They're kind of truly splitting.
That's interesting. For the longest time, I don't think that's ever been done. I know, speaking from experience, as kind of a complementary piece on that team, it is difficult to find rhythm. Secondary scoring is an issue, and that's a topic of conversation in Edmonton, but it is a bit of an outlier on that team because of just the rhythm. It's tough when those secondary scoring players kind of don't play power play at all, and then maybe they don't kill. So it's tough to find that rhythm when that unit is out there for 2 minutes and maybe there's some breaks and stuff. So I think it's interesting that they're going to try it. I think Florida kind of proved last year that rolling 4 lines is so key, and maybe it might be the better strategy to roll 4 than rely on, a super strong power play. So I think it could be an interesting strategy to switch up the PP units and kind of get maybe more ice time for certain players and see how it goes. I could probably guess that ultimately in the future they'll go back to that unit that is the best unit of all time. But maybe it gets some guys going. Maybe it gets some goals coming from different areas and gets some guys some more ice time.
I also just think in terms of and not like saying that they're in a funk when they're still producing is weird, but on the power play, maybe just getting McDavid and Draisaitl thinking about things a little bit differently too. Like if it's been now 2.5 years of you are out there every power play with Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, Hyman, and it's those two, you kind of get used to where everyone's going. And maybe when you're a little bit frustrated and things aren't going well, you start just trying to go back to the old reliable plays all the time, and they're not working right now. Maybe just putting a couple of fresh faces out there with them gets them back to the drawing board a little bit, draws them out of their usual comfort zone. And maybe, like you said, they go back to that usual 5 at some point, but a little break can spark them back.
For sure. And I think that, we talked about it, a couple of weeks ago, that it does take some time for everything to get gelling again. And I can't imagine what it's like to come off the run that they went on last year and then come back in the season. I've never been in that situation. I can imagine it's difficult. So there's definitely a period of time that has to be allowed for them to kind of reset and settle in. And it is taking some time. But yeah, I think it might just take one game. They might score 6 one game or something, something where everything just goes and everyone gets their mojo and then they start humming from there. But it could take some more time. And I think, it's going to be, it'll be fun to see and fun to watch how those two different groups do, because it hasn't been seen in a long time, ever, maybe.
Last one I got for you. I want to go around the NHL a little bit here. And, we're still under 10 games into the season. So I joked everything you say now needs to come with the asterisk of like, I know it is early in the year, but I'm wondering if there's any team around the league that's maybe changed your perception of them through the first 7, 8, 9 games of the year. Like one that's caught my eye as a former team of yours in the Minnesota Wild. They were an afterthought for me. And now I'm looking 4-0-2, have not trailed in a game yet this season. Even the games they're losing are in overtime, so you're never technically trailing. I'm looking at them now being like, man, they could actually be a legit playoff team again after taking a year off last year. But is there any team you look at around the NHL and you're like, man, maybe I was off about them in my preseason thoughts?
I think Minnesota's a good one. I haven't watched a single game of theirs, so I don't even know what they look like right now. But I would say heading into this season, I would have predicted the same thing that you said. Not reaching those expectations or not reaching what they're doing now. So that's cool. I mean, I don't know if they had a coaching change or anything like that, but that is surprising for me, just because I've been watching some, games out west. Calgary's been impressive. Just watching them play, they seem like a veteran group for a group that has traded a bunch of pieces and kind of trying to get younger. They look pretty veteran out there. They're working hard. They're on the same page. They came back against Pittsburgh. They looked calm when they were down. I was impressed with Calgary.
Yeah, they're off to a flying start. And Justin Kirkland is one of the best stories. A 2014 draft pick, finally getting a chance to play in the NHL for the first time, 10 year full time, I should say, in the NHL, 10 years after being picked, and scored the shootout winner against Pittsburgh and has gotten the nickname Kirkland signature, or I think Uyghur called him the other day, Costco Kirky. Sick nickname too. All right. I actually lied. I had one more spot I wanted to go to with you. The Oilers did their annual big autograph signing day at West Edmonton Mall where all the players sit at their little tables and whatnot. Weirdest thing you were ever asked to autograph in your playing career?
Ooh. I autographed a baby's head, and this guy said he named his kid Enzo after me, and I autographed his his head. So that was an interesting moment for sure.
Named his kid after you. That would be like mildly uncomfortable, I feel like.
Yeah, it was definitely. But I mean, they said, "Can you please do this?" I said, "Okay, sure." But yeah, there's definitely a lot of weird, interesting requests out there, and I can imagine in West Edmonton Mall with the Oilers and the superstars they have, they probably received some very strange requests.
Me and Liam bet that you would say tits.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Would that be that strange though?
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe a little bit more common than a baby. That's anyways. Thanks for hopping on again. We'll chat with you next week, man.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
There you go. And when you're a superstar like that, tits or whatever. Yeah, I send tits all the time.
That's the most common thing he's probably saying.
And the part of the podcast my mom turns off. She's like, yeah, that's enough of this guy for the day. Anyway, shout out Tyler Ennis on the Star Mechanical guest line. Been fun having him on. Signing baby's head. That's crazy. I feel like that's a microplastics thing.
Did I ever tell you? So obviously worked for the Crusaders.
Yep.
Used to go and visit schools and they used to ask us to sign stuff. And this one player, his name was Declan Willens. You remember him?
Yeah.
Someone asked him to sign an already signed Jerome McGinley jersey. It was signed by Jerome McGinley, and he signed it. And I said, I probably should have said no to that one.
There are people, and this happened to us in the playoffs last year. This happens at viewing parties where they come up to us and are like, will you sign our Oilers jerseys? And it's like, no, I'm not going to sign. That's dumb.
I signed a McDavid jersey last year and felt, I was like, I don't want to do this. Don't make me do this. I don't want to do it.
And people are like, they're like, no, I want it. And it's
I
like,
went,
why?
okay, well, somebody record a video of me doing this. So I have the video of it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that.
People are saying, what happened to Frank? Is Frank not joining? Frank was yesterday. Frank does Wednesdays.
He was on part of the topic bar for a second, and I flipped it off. I was curious if anyone was going to notice.
All right. Maynard, did Waz get his Derek Ryan jersey signed again? Yeah. So if you guys missed this last year, Waz, you know him from TikTok. He is a big Derek Ryan fan. He got Derek Ryan to sign his jersey last year, and it was a big video because he was at the back of the line, didn't think he'd made it. Derek Ryan saw that he had a Derek Ryan jersey and was like, yes, I want to sign that before I go. Waz went back yesterday and got Derek Ryan to sign the same jersey again. So now the 1 and the 0 are both autographed by Derek Ryan.
And the funny part about it was, too, aside from one having a Derek Ryan jersey, Derek Ryan remembered and said, he's like, oh, you made it to the front of the line this year. So that was pretty cool too. The other funny part of it is Derek Ryan was sat next to Nuge and Was got a signature from Derek Ryan. I don't know how it works. I've never been to West Ed. I don't know if you can get both players or it's just one, but I thought that was very funny.
Derek Ryan's wife liked the Spider-Man video we made this year.
Yeah.
So I'm sure DR has seen Waz content.
What do you make of the whole not Derek Ryan thing? The players going to WEM. Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's fun. Like, it's a good thing to do. Me personally, I would never stand in line for as long as people do.
No, me neither. There was one. Do you remember a couple of years ago they did it in flu season? Like they did it.
All the players got sick.
Everyone got sick. That was funny. Yesterday the Oilers put out a video of asking people when they lined up. And obviously there was some people like, I got here at 6 a.m. Like someone was like, I got here at 5. But then they got to Jeff Skinner and I can't remember who was that. I was like, yeah, I lined up at 2:30. Like no one was here.
Again, like the McDavid one, all Connor will sign is the player card the Oilers issue, the little whatever thing. Like it's we don't have the Brett Kulak one, it's over there. But
framed over there.
It's like those little rectangle things. So like to go sit for 12 hours in a line to get that from Connor McDavid, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, but it's interesting because Draisaitl signs anything. Like Kennedy got her Draisaitl jersey signed yesterday, but McDavid, they don't let him do that. I find that weird.
Because he has like deals with companies, right?
Oh, I see.
Mulek wanted his Ekholm sign. Yeah, like again, all the credit to you if you went and stood in the line. Like that's an admirable thing. You get to meet your favorite players. Sick.
If I wasn't in the position that I'm in, where I criticize these guys every day of my life, I might go. I would consider going more.
Oh yeah,
We can't go now.
They tell Ty no.
Oh, a couple of them would for sure.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Last year even more, but they shipped out a few of them. Jesus. We
Shout
got
out to the guy with McDavid. That was, I don't remember what his name was.
yeah.
He made that so efficient, and I was
Kevin
like, this
Radomski,
guy's
yeah.
working right now.
I think it's awesome. I don't know how many other teams do it, but I've never seen another team do what they do.
Yep, it's cool. Okay, let's continue along. There was something else that we got a really nice compliment in here for our boy Tyler Ennis. We're not on Enzo yet, but one day we'll get there. Someone said, oh, there you go, Isaac. It's great to see Tyler get more open on the pod. I feel like it's almost night and day from his first appearance on this one. Great stuff. He is great, man. And again, like we talked about this last week, he's never done anything like
I
this.
thought he was talking about you.
No, not.
You're getting way better. Ty.
But no, I completely agree. I think it's just he's feeling more comfortable in every setup he makes.
I think us saying tits helps too.
I think so, Ty.
Specifically you.
Absolutely. Starting with the beer question, asking,
Beer, boobs, just really
Bros.
massage your way
Double
in there.
B.
Yep.
Massage your way in there.
Exactly. Doug Wade, stop asking that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google it.
Take the hint. We haven't answered.
Mommy and daddy are sleeping in separate beds. I had something else I wanted to say. We also are always on the hunt, just Oilers Nation, the Nation Network in general, on the hunt for like former NHLers, former junior players who might be interested in getting into the media.
Yeah.
So if you know anyone whose resume is like good and they know the game well and they played the sport at a high level, send them our way.
Yeah, for the record, when we say good, we don't mean for podcasting. They don't need to be good at this yet. They need to be good at playing hockey.
Yeah, if their name carries some weight, played pro somewhere, and there's
want to help me break down After Dark?
Just let me know. I'm sending out that open call now because we've been
The open line.
Yeah, we've been in the works behind the scenes a little bit, and again, like anybody, they don't have to be an all-star. They don't have to be someone who scored 80 goals in the dub. Tyler Ennis did though, which is sick.
I want to ask him next week why he wasn't he wasn't drafted into the WHL.
Yeah,
And then to be a first-round pick in the NHL, like
crazy.
people are always like Iginla. It's like, yeah, he's a fantastic story, obviously Hall of Famer, but like these other guys did it too, and his dub career was nuts.
Mulek, I know the game well and won another game in the CCRHL Div 4. No big deal. Yeah,
You're in.
maybe.
No.
Okay, we got a couple things we need to do before the end of the show. One of them is a feature we've been working on with our friends at Alberta Blue Cross. You know them. You love them. They've been a partner on the show for a while, and they're all about making memories, whether it's through hockey, whether it's through travel. It's what their travel insurance can help you out with. It's protecting your memories, and they have a unique connection. The people who work there, they're hockey fans.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I should say, had a chance to sit down with them and talk a little bit about the memories and what makes hockey special to them. So here is our video with Alberta Blue Cross.
All right, it's time for our Alberta Blue Cross meaningful moment of the month. And today we're joined by Ben, the brand and creative director from Alberta Blue Cross. Ben, I'd ask you how you're doing today, but you actually just biked all the way down here to the office in the River Valley. How you feeling after that?
We're good, man. It's like the last nice day of summer, maybe early fall. So you got to make the most of that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, fall, overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
It's a not complete here because we get like 20 minutes of it. If we got, 3 months of fall, then it would be, top season for me.
I said this year, I think it's a little overrated. Fall, everybody says they love the changing of the seasons. They love everything that comes with it. As an Oilers fan, I feel robbed of summer this past year because we only really got 2 months of it. I'm not complaining,
Wow.
but fall could be a little bit overrated. So we're here to talk about our meaningful moments with hockey in our lives, courtesy of our friends from Alberta Blue Cross. So let me ask you, Ben, you a big Oilers fan? You a big hockey fan? I see you got a hat on there.
I mean, I think a lot of us that grew up in Edmonton, hockey's pretty big. I lived in Montreal for a long time too. And obviously people are pretty passionate about the sport there as well. But growing up for me, often under the Christmas tree, there'd be a ticket to a game. And, so I grew up, watching Gretzky play in Northlands and with the Whalers and, all that. So just having those memories, that's really special. It's one of those things you start to feel like an older guy, but that's something to be able to tell people when you grow up.
I'm just entering my 30s, and I know I'm going to look back at these McDavid years like my father looked back at the Gretzky years. Tell me more about that. What was that like back in the day, reliving that? We've never actually seen a Stanley Cup parade here in the city in my lifetime. What was that like for you?
I think you grew up totally spoiled, right? And
True.
Oiler fans, I think in the Northlands days in the 90s got a bit of a reputation for being quiet, but I think you kind of had every ounce of excitement squeezed out of you at that point. You're pretty hard to impress as a hockey fan after growing up with that.
You mentioned Montreal, though. Hockey out there in Montreal. We were actually just talking earlier today. I think Montreal is like my favorite Canadian city. It's all castle vibey and super cool. What was it like watching puck over there in Montreal?
They're awesome hockey fans.
They're rowdy.
Like I will say this, you know, Montreal hockey fans, and it was more when I was living there, it was kind of the Hemsky years, 2000s, and I saw every Oilers game when I was living there for about a decade, and they're really appreciative of just great skill and great players. So unlike other markets in Canada where it's just sort of like, if my team doesn't win, I'm mad. You know, and I can think of a couple markets like that, maybe. I think the Montreal fan is a hockey fan first in some ways. Not that they haven't been pretty spoiled too over the years, but it's a fun place to watch. Hockey.
That's a different vibe over there. I mean, I think Edmonton is one of those cities where your mood kind of goes up and down depending on whether the Oilers win or lose. Last year, starting 2-9-1. I was a sad boy to start the season. I will tell you that. You also mentioned a couple of Christmas memories there with some hockey presents under the tree. I remember for me, I got a Ryan Smith jersey under the tree when I was like 7, 8 years old. I still have that jersey. It is still in my house. It has way too many stains on it to actually bring out any Christmas memories. You mentioned they're getting hockey tickets.
I mean, Smitty memories too. You know, he was a pretty lovable guy, but I was at that game in the
see that right there?
Nice one. I was at that game in the 2000s when Patrick Steffen missed that empty net breakaway. And it's kind of a funny story because they're watching the game. We're losing against Dallas as usual. And Marc-Andre Bergeron, I think it was, gave the puck away to Patrick Steffen. And I missed the play entirely. I start swearing and I'm looking for my mitts and I'm finding my coat and I just hear the crowd roar and look up and the puck's going the other way and Smitty dishes it over to Hemsky for that move. So that was an amazing moment to be there for. I think we even ended up losing the game in overtime or shootout and nobody cared because it was such a special moment.
That's one of the coolest highlights you ever see. Every top 10 on TSN Sports Center, you always see that one coming back. It was a memory. Being in there for that building was pretty crazy. Did you get out to any Oilers playoff games this season? Get to feel the vibes this year? I know we fell short by just one game, but it was an awesome time to be in this city, right?
I mean, the city's always more awake for these moments. And part of me finds it a bit agonizing, right? Just feels like there's so much riding on these moments. Now that I realize how rare they are, you know, going through the 2006 season cup drive that ended very similarly to this year. But, you know, the most special moment for me recently is just, you know, Leon Draisaitl re-signing here for 8 years, because that maybe portends of other re-signings and maybe the stability and greatness of the team long-term. And that's something growing up and watching all those guys leave after watching them win was really painful. And we're going to have a bunch more good years with this team. So that's pretty exciting.
I think it's a sign of things to come. Even Connor McDavid said it himself that Edmonton's kind of becoming a destination to play in. You saw Victor Arvidsson, you saw Jeff Skinner come here this offseason. So let's hope. Let me ask you your prediction this season for the Edmonton Oilers. How are they going to do? Where are they going to finish?
All the way, man.
I knew I liked you from day one. Big shouts out to our friend Ben here, the brand and creative director from Alberta Blue Cross. Because if you're planning a trip, make sure you remember to pack travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross. When you've got Canada's most trusted travel insurance in your back pocket, you can focus on making the right kind of memories while you're away. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Ben, thank you very much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, man.
There you go. Shout out to our boy AB and shout out to Ben from Alberta Blue Cross. So let's wrap up the show with our Bet365 Other Sports Report. You can use the promo code NATION. That's NATION. Download the app today. Pop that bad boy in there and get in on a huge range of markets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We are getting close to the one and only sports equinox day of the year. Aaron pointed out yesterday that Monday will be the only day in the calendar year 2024 where the NHL, NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball will all be in action. We talk a lot of baseball on the show. We talk a lot of football on the show. Some people complain, and I say it's an hour-long show. We do 5 days a week. If we want to spend 4 minutes of it talking about another sport, sue us. But, Aaron, you're the...
Don't do that.
Huh? Actually, I don't sue us. I lied. Anyways, Aaron, you're the resident basketball guy. Yep. So to get us ready for the start of the NBA season, which has already began, I wanted you to give me a list of things, 5 things, to keep an eye on or that tell us the story of the NBA right now? So give her.
I got 5 NBA storylines, and you guys don't like basketball, but I call NBA it's the biggest soap opera in professional sports. It's all about the stars and the players. So your first storyline to keep an eye out for this season is, as much as I hate this, because they shouldn't. Oh, nice. See there, it says Frank Saravalli. So yeah, there you go. Ignore Frank Saravalli. Bronny and Braun. Hate it or love it, they're going to be a huge thing this season. 55th overall pick, Bronny James. My opinion on the guy, while I'm the biggest LeBron hater that exists, Bronny can't shoot. Bronny can't dribble. He isn't super athletic, and he doesn't have good size, but give him credit, he can play defense. So you're going to have to watch this. He got a couple minutes in the first game. He's going to continue to get minutes. Why is he not in the G League? I do not understand it at all, but this was an incredibly cool moment for as much as a LeBron hater as I am. Are you guys Bron haters?
I'm not a hater. I appreciate the work.
I appreciate the greatness, but I think he's corny. All right, number 2.
I think he's corny as shit. Next one, Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Last year's number 1 overall pick. He is 7'3" and 20 years old. Last year, he had 21, 10, and 3 as an average. He averaged 3.6 blocks a game, which was 1.2 higher than second place. May I remind you, he is 20 years old. He's going to get Chris Paul to play with this season. I think Wemby is about to be the face of the league as Braun's leaving. Vic is coming in. Look at his arms. I should have got a photo with them extended. His wingspan is almost as long as he is body-wise. He's a freak of nature. He can shoot. He can do it all. He was incredible in the Olympics. So we'll see if he becomes the face. My next one, Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. We all know Ja Morant. Keep your guns down. We don't have sponsors on. Obviously, he was wielding guns multiple times on his Instagram Live, as you do, of course. He got suspended last year for the first 25 games. He then only played 9 games, had a shoulder injury. The Grizz finished 27-55 last year. The last 2 years, they were the 2 seed. They had back-to-back 50-win seasons. Jaren Jackson, he got hurt. He's incredible. I think the Grizz are going to be back in the playoffs. And Ja Morant, Liam, before this whole gun-wielding suspension thing, he was taking over the league like the new Russell Westbrook.
He was one of the best players in the league. Probably the best point guard in the NBA.
Then he fought that kid at Foot Locker. Damn it. Okay, number 4.
Yeah, he's done a number of dumb things. Next one, Liam's Boston Celtics, and specifically Jason Tatum. This is the deepest team in the NBA. They were the front runner to win the finals all season last year. What did they go out and do? Did it very easily is what it looked like. Deepest roster in the league. But over the summer, the storyline is going to be Tatum was on the U.S. Olympic team along with teammates Derek White and Drew Holiday. Jaylen Brown didn't even make the team, but he was the finals MVP. Tatum, best player on the Celtics, was benched for all of the Olympics. And the storyline is he's pissed off. He is a little angry at how that went down. Might be a revenge tour, which is wild to say after you won the NBA Finals and did it incredibly handedly.
They're on the heel turn right now.
Seriously, seriously, they're going to be good. And the final one for us Canadian fans, Toronto Raptors are going to stink this season. It is a complete rebuild in the 6. Pascal Siakam's gone. Fred VanVleet's gone. OG Anunoby is gone. We got Emmanuel Quickly, signed for 5-year, $162 million, I think, which is crazy in the NBA. Canadian RJ Barrett, he's a great shooter, made a lot of noise over the summer in the Olympics, but it's all about Scotty Barnes this season. Can he take over this team? Can he run this team? Can he become an all-star in the NBA? He did win Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. It's all about Scotty and, of course, Grady Dick as well. We like Grady Dick.
Go check out Raptors Republic.
There you go. Excited to have Raptors Republic as a part of our network this year. All right. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Shout out to our boy Tyler Ennis for swinging by and having some fun with us. Shout out to everyone in the Odd Company, Greta Bar or Odd Company YouTube chat. Shout out to Nation Beer. Ding, ding, ding. Go pick one up today. Head to Liquor Connect to find out where you can get some. Anyways, that's a wrap. Have a good Thursday, everybody. Tomorrow, Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Oilers, Pens, come on. It's going to be a good one. We'll keep the game day chat going. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll chat tomorrow. Oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.